It's Grace Redman. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life, raw conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who overcome challenges and create amazing. Today is a very special episode of Real Talk because I am in the studio in person at the high school I graduated from with several of my classmates who are the co-executive directors of an incredible program that is impacting the community in amazing ways. And today they are going to share with us about that program. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Brett Stevenson, Dean of Students, Co-Executive Director of Empowerment Through Action.
I'm Rachel Lauderdale. I'm a teacher here and also Co-Executive Director at ETA.
I'm Deshawn Mitchell. I'm the Student Success Coordinator at Hillsdale and run enrichment and ETA Rise.
I'm Ed Kanda, counselor here and Co-Executive Director of P2.
Yeah. I'm so excited to be back here. And as I was coming in and driving here, I was letting, Ed, Brett, Rachel, and Deshawn know, it felt like it was a full circle moment. So this is very just special for all of us because also these are my classmates. And Anthony is over here on the sound for us, DJ Antidote. So it's going to be an incredible show for us today. And thank you so much for having me come in here to chat with you guys. So please tell us, what is Empowerment Through Action? So Empowerment Through Action is a nonprofit that we started back in 2018, running mentor groups with students who needed it the most at Hillsdale. And now it's grown into 220 students at Hillsdale. We just expanded to San Mateo High School, Aragon, our Bridge Academy, and our feeder middle schools, Burrell, Bayside, and Abbott. The foundation is our mentor group. So we put students who are marginalized by our school systems into mentor groups based on ethnicity and gender. They have a mentor that they work with 3 times a month for about 45 minutes. We connect them to enrichment activities. We connect them to tutoring, to different careers and jobs in our community, and just a bunch of other things to help close that opportunity gap for our students who need it the most in San Mateo and Foster City. What made you decide to create this program, Empowerment Through Action? What was the motivator to create the program?
That's a good question. I think, Ed, Deshawn, and I went to Hillsdale. We grew up in the community. And I think coming back to Hillsdale as educators, I think I can speak for myself, and then I think Ed can kind of answer this question too. As the dean of students, I work with students that sometimes, are in the dean's office for discipline, caught up with truancy. And I think early on we were meeting with students pretty regularly. And I think it became clear that even though a student would have disciplinary kind of issues at the school, you could see that there were these inherent strengths that each student possessed. And you started to kind of see that it wasn't from a lack of ability, it was more from a lack of opportunity. And so we tried to start to think about how do we, move closer to students to kind of hear their story and learn more about their lived experience in our community. And so we started really thinking intentionally about how we could kind of close that gap of understanding.
Right. Hillsdale has small learning communities, and we have advisories. They have an advisor. And so I feel like here we're pretty blessed to have other adults going in and connecting with their students and finding out their stories, but then they still need additional support. And so that's when there'd be students that are still missing school or having behavioral issues. And when we spent a little bit more time to talk to them, we found more information out and we felt the better connection. We saw them like they felt heard. So in the classroom, it's not just, hey, I need to turn in the homework. It's also, what I'm dealing with, and that's why it's hard today. But yes, hold me accountable. And so I think we started off by doing groups because we felt, hey, let's do a group, let's talk. And we didn't know what we were doing. Not that we totally know what we're doing now, but definitely in a group.
You're doing something amazing, that's for sure.
It is, and that's the feeling. The feeling there is you felt honesty, you felt connectedness. And then afterwards, when you get called into the dean's office and then they know their story, it's a different conversation. They know that we're not out to get you. We're out to help you. And so there's a different relationship that exists.
when you say a different relationship that it exists, what does that mean?
We see the whole student. So we are trained in restorative practices and trauma informed. So when we speak to the student, we know that about them, and yet we see their goals. They're able to share with their, and maybe at first they don't have goals, or they need to kind of uncover what the goals are, find their strengths, and then so in that ongoing conversation, you see that about them too, not just what has happened to them or what they've been dealt, and then we see beyond and we build from that. So that's the different relationship that we have that is more constructive and more student centered rather than, hey, you need to change so that you pass the class. It's more, hey, we know you have goals. We want to support you. And school is part of that and beyond.
And some, some of our students are marginalized because of the system wasn't created for them, right? This school system in America was built for a certain type of kid. And so when you really break down those barriers and meet with kids with love and say, like, we love you, we're going to see you through this, and we're going to be there here for you for 4 years, maybe even more. It's different than anything they've had in school before, and it's very different than a teacher-student relationship. It just goes deeper, allows for vulnerability, and really breaks through some of those roadblocks that schools create for them. I know that when I met with you a few months ago, you talked about there are mentors that stay with the kids through the entire 4 years. So I have two questions. How do I identify the students that get into the program, number one? And then how have you seen a difference with having the same mentor with them through that 4 years? Yeah, so it's taken a long road for us to kind of figure out the right formula for identifying students. So when we first started, we didn't know our ninth graders enough. And so we really launched 10th through 12th grade because they took, all of that first year of high school to really identify the right students for the program based on their social emotional needs, what's coming up, who shows up in the dean's office, who's not coming to school. And then we just realized it's not enough time with them. And so we started with ninth graders, and then we really made the impact, I think, the biggest impact when we started with the eighth graders. And so we're identifying them in middle school, seeing the students who are coming into our high school, starting there, making sure that we're identifying the right students in eighth grade so they can start right up in ninth grade and be with us for 4.5, we say 5 years. Wow. Because the hope is that once they go to their next step, whether career, military, or college, that we're also with them the first semester of that journey. And it's really made all the difference in identifying the right students, but we're looking at ethnicity, race, socioeconomic level, their grades, their discipline. We want the students who are truly falling through the cracks. We have an amazing program in our district called AVID, and those are students who are similar, demographics of ethnicity, race, but they're 2.0. They know they want to go to a 4-year. We're really focused on students who might be a little bit more lost than that, might not have any support at home to kind of drive them in that direction. And so we kind of try to pick them up as they fall through the cracks.
That's amazing. I was one of those kids that fell through the cracks. And I know when I came in, I got emotional that first time. And I promised I wouldn't get emotional today. So I want to go back. I think that's amazing that you say you start in eighth grade. Mm-hmm. So how do you know? Do you have a collaboration with Abbott and Bayside and other middle schools? Do you go into the school and they know about ETA? And then they share with you, okay, these are the eighth graders that we believe should be in the program?
Yes. Yeah. So that's the starting place. And again, it's taking a lot of different iterations, but we interview the students as well. So we sit with them, get to know them from the very get-go, and then kind of weed through, who are the right students? Who are the students with the highest needs that can really benefit from the program? And then we need to leave space for, of course, students who aren't in one of our feeder middle schools, and then kind of figure out, once they're here, how do we leave space to make sure that we're catching all the kids that need it the most?
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, and I would add, we then pair students in groups of 8 based on ethnicity and gender with a group leader. And so all of us are group leaders, and that group leader is trained, as Ed mentioned, in trauma literacy and restorative practices. But we have a mantra that you can only move at the speed of trust. And so the reason the mentor is with students for 5 years is that it just takes time, and we have to get to know the students and what Deshawn calls their superpowers, and then how do we connect those students to opportunities? And then I think over time, you just build this real deep relationship with the students in your group. And I often call it a 4-year conversation where we're just getting to know each other over time. And really over time, we talk about our students that they're writing their own stories, and we're really this kind of guide by the side during their high school experience.
That's so powerful because we talk about
shifting the stories. And I want to come back to what you said is they feel seen and heard. And then you talked about trust. How have you seen students, shift their narrative when they're seen and heard and they trust you, they trust the environment? How have you seen them grow and expand when they're seen and heard and they feel
Well,
safe?
that's the great thing about where I was in with Anthony, right? And I picked him up in the car, and I remember him in 8th grade and how quiet he was. He was unsure himself, lacked confidence, didn't really speak in our group. And then he went through all our stuff through the summer. And then Kate was in our class, was in a group, and he actually was promoted. Like he was doing so well that we felt like he didn't have to have the class, still in a group. And then we saw him the other day. He spoke at one of the middle schools to talk about what ETA is, and the way he was able to articulate, I'm like, wow, who's this guy? And so,
So powerful.
but along the way, Laciel was his teacher too, and we were saying like, hey, that's a strength. Like you're able to articulate. Wow, you look at how organized you are. And so I think you're pointing out some positive things that they're doing. And then it was cool as we have seniors too, and you look back, hey, when you were a freshman, you didn't share much, and then you start to see how loyal there's a theme of you being so loyal to your family, to your friends. Like you're doing this for your mom, and your mom's really proud of you. You were disappointed when you didn't do well, and you were thinking about your mom, weren't you? So you kind of like connect, since you've been following with them around these other things that are maybe not discussed in the classroom, and you carry on these conversations with an adult. I would have loved to have a male adult to tell you, hey, don't do this. Here's why. You're strong at this. You don't need to say those words. You don't need to act cool. And so a 4-year relationship or a 5-year, imagine how much growth you can make because someone's helping you reflect on your strengths.
Well, you know me, I love that reflection.
Yeah.
So what it sounds like, it's a holistic approach to dealing with the students.
I think holistic's the right word. It's interesting. So we're all former athletes and coaches, and I remember Dick Vermeil here, legendary football coach, Super Bowl coach. He was a teacher and coach at Hillsdale. And I had dinner with him one night, and I said, "What's the key with relationships at the NFL level?" And he talked about that even at the highest level, the NFL, that the players don't care about what you know until they know that you care. And so how do you convey that care? Again, it goes back to that relational trust. And I think when the students in ETA know that the adults care, they feel seen and heard, I think we can do two things. We can kind of push, and we constantly tell students, we're going to push you to reach your highest potential. And I think they trust us when we encourage them to say, hey, you should really try a career internship, or we need you to go to tutoring for math after school because we see this ability that you have. And so when that trust is there, I think the sky is the limit, and that's really our goal.
I love that. So there's so many different pillars to ETA. When I came in, there were some students that they have their own coffee bar. They're working in the coffee bar. So can you share a little bit about the different empowering, pillars of ETA?
I can speak on enrichment. We there's so many things outside, that are money grabs, from the AU to whatever the case. They're demanding a lot financially, and we saw something that needed to be bridged for students that may not have the same resources. So we wanted to create something where we can build community, where our students can find passion, find something that they're into to grow from it. So we created, as you saw, our cafe we have in our room in CRC, where students learn how to run business, marketing, and just how to do business and what it means, what it looks like. Lifestyle wear, which I should have put my shirt on, but we have really, here's one. There it is right there.
Oh, nice.
Where we're thinking of just learn design and how to budget and products, and we have a basketball team. But so we just created all these different things so students can really just again find their way. And a lot of times you can be a part of the community, it can just show you the way out of the forest. So that's the heartbeat of our enrichment.
So it sounds like real like they're learning real life skills
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
and how to navigate the real world. And when you get out there, business.
yes,
I know when I came in, you also said that there were, people within the community coming in, like there was a barber coming in and teaching.
yes. We have barbershop class where they come in and they learn how they come. We have cosmetology. Again, these are all just lanes. So trying to get them to find their love, their passion, and honestly, it's such a joy to watch them see where they want to go. It sparks so much. You got students over there that cannot wait for each activity because again, it's just one of those things where it opens up a new door. When that door opens, that's when the sky's the limit.
Beautiful. What do you think is one of the greatest challenges that these students face?
I think part of it is just not knowing what you don't know what you don't know. So they don't even know what opportunities are out there. And so I feel like ETA is trying to bring in those opportunities so they can see not just the stuff that they can see in their short view, but there's these other things that we want you to try. It doesn't necessarily need to be their passion, but they tried it and like, ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Or this seems like I could do it. Try some more and go deeper with it. So I think it's just exposing them to opportunities that they didn't even know existed. I don't know. That's part of it.
I'm sorry, I was going to add trust. I think that's why it's so important that we spend, the years together building that. Because again, we try to move in the speed of trust. Because in a world that lies so much with social media, that's just telling you so much that isn't real, and we try to be just a rock that lets them know that this is the direction to go, even though it may be the one you don't want, or let's just help them see that they do have superpowers. But I think that trust is a tough one because
I hear you.
As Miss Lauderdale said earlier, I still call her Miss Lauderdale, as Rachel said earlier, this school stuff wasn't really designed for everyone. So when navigating these spaces sometimes is really tough. It's really tough. So
It's so hard, and I think both of you are absolutely right. And that's so they struggle with self-worth, right? Like understanding that even when presented the opportunities, that you're worthy of taking those opportunities. And a lot of the research around trauma, and especially students, young people who face trauma, is that you lose the ability to dream. And so, like, how do you present these opportunities that like both heal and really work at what has caused that trauma and practice vulnerability and while an adult loves you and indulges you with unconditional love, but also that gives you the ability to dream again and like really see a bright future for yourself. That's so perfectly said. So perfect. And I love how being a mentor and a coach, something that I really have a passion for is helping people heal, step into their self-worth, and then they can create a life and business that are excited to wake up to. And we always talk about in our industry as a coach and mentor, like we really need to bring these principles into the school and start it with the children really early, because then that's when we can create incredible ripples and make the change and transformation that's needed in our world. And so this is why this is so close to my heart, because you just said it. Like, okay, if you know you're worthy and you're loved, then you can not only create for yourself, but be a pillar in society, be a light. And so that's really the bottom line, I know, of this program. And I think it's amazing. And I also love how and I want to go next to Bridge program, but I love how you're bringing this and to those, like you said, they might not know. They might not, like we were first generation. My parents didn't know, you don't know what you don't know. So this is bringing to the students who, like you said, may fall through the crack, information and education for them to, number one, know that they are worthy, and number one, two, to know that there's something greater for them. So I commend you all for that work. So you're all speaking my language to make this a much better world. And you are. So tell me more about the Bridge to Bridge program.
Starting on the 8th grade side. So, before we used to have counselors would meet with the counselor, and here we were blessed with Kathy Enan, who felt like the principal of Abbott. and would just go over every single student. She would name this person has this strength. And so we were able to communicate it. Then how do you get that information to the school, that prepare them for high school? But then, so we use that relationship, and you know, there's been different iterations of that. This current version, we start the second semester of what we engage the school, and we find out who the students are. We come up with a list. We bring them in. We interview the students, talking about what ETA is, and get an understanding of who they, what ETA is, and what it could be for them. And we talk about the groups, and so they're going to have a mentor. And so then we pair up with one of their staff members, and we have multiple groups and a staff member from Hillsdale, so an ETA member. And then so we would have groups discuss that. I mean, we would do a kickoff, which we did several kickoffs, so they understand what that we're in it together. There's multiple groups going. You connect with our culture keepers, which that's a whole other level. But there's students that may have attended that middle school, and then they articulate what it's been for them, ETA. So we're helping fill the gap from the transition from middle school to high school, which is a huge leap for that eighth grader at that time. And then we invite them over here so they can see the space. After they graduate, we have a bridge camp where they get comfortable, ask questions, get their schedule, meet staff members, and then the more comfort we know their first day of school, they're more prepared and more confident. And then we continue into at least the first semester, and they're still in groups and continue. So that's on the front end.
Yeah, no, the second bridge is supporting with the transition from 12th grade to post high school. And so we start with students second semester of their senior year to really think about what students are going to 2-year college, 4-year college, career technical training, the military. And then we really try and bridge for each of those students that next step. And so we partner with CSM and their Promise program. We have multiple meetings during spring semester where CSM comes down and talks about different levels of support they offer at the school. We help with registration, and we make sure that students feel like they have adults here that they know and trust that support them. And so, again, just taking kind of the anxiety, the temperature down for what am I going to do the day after I graduate? And so helping students bridge that next step. And again, whether it's a 4-year university, a community college, we're there. And then we stay with students first semester after high school.
Wow.
So our bridge coordinator, Leah Hurd, will continue to be there for students who are at one of 2-year, 4-year college. So if they are struggling to get a class, or they need to get a book, or they need to balance work with school, we hang in there with them until that transition feels complete.
And then you talked about, when you're the oldest and your parents are immigrants. So I remember 8th grade, I was actually at Bayside Middle School, and my mom had to put in a transfer. So she had to jump on the bus, go to where the district office was, fill out the form because they didn't have online, fill it out. I had to come back, and I look back, I go, my mom did that for me? That's huge. And then you just didn't know. I lived on the other side of San Mateo, never been to this campus. It was just a very strange transition for me. It just felt lost. And then, because I was so used to the east side of San Mateo. And then when it comes to, on the 12th grade one, is the college. I remember taking the SAT because some other people did, but I never knew, how do you fill out an application? I don't even know where to go. And so, for 4-year, for sure. And then I signed up the day before at CSM because, again, my parents didn't know the steps versus we would have our kids being college educated and knowing our school system. I got to make sure my son knows this and that step. Coach him up. Hey, you need to get ready for SATs. You need to take the prep class. And so our students are dependent upon the adults in ETA and their teachers here to support them in those steps, because if not, they too will fall through the cracks of the application process.
Yeah. And I've been there. I know we talked about that being the oldest, saying, I don't know anything about SAT. And it's not that your parents are bad parents. It's just, a different, coming to this country, it's different. They don't know. So again, this is just so incredible what you're doing to give kids the opportunity to
not only be seen, heard, supported, but to know what to do next, what the next step is. What I really am impressed by is that you stay with them after they graduate high school. That's unheard of.
I mean, it goes back to that concept of relational trust, right? So that's why we have the middle school kind of hang in there with them when they transition to our high school, because those are the adults that they trust from their middle school. We're the adults that they trust from the high school. And so until we feel like, okay, you're grounded, you're enrolled, you found your people, your supports at your next destination, we feel like we have to hang in there.
Well, I would almost bet that if you had a student that graduated from ETA and if they're in their sophomore year of college and they needed support, I know 100% each one of you would pick up the phone and help them. So, and so I see this is really not just, okay, a 4 or 5 year program. This is lifelong relationships.
Oh yeah.
And I feel that is what's needed is like the community and connection. And you're teaching them how to help them use their tools when they're out there in the real world and use their tools in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get emotional because Brett told me, come out one Friday morning to our peace pantry. And I'm like, Friday morning at 7 a.m. Like, I'm in the gym with Mike Munoz. He's kicking my butt. But I did. And I saw you out there that morning. And I didn't have words. So can you share with us about the Peace Pantry, the community garden, and that community closet, which I was like, it looked like little BB. Little BB in the mall back in the day. I was like, wait, what is this?
Great job. Yeah, we probably about 2019 we started having more and more families coming into the school and really expressing that they were food insecure. And it got to a point where I think we talked about the fact that what do? We don't want to be a school that outsources care. It's easy to say, hey, you can go to a local food bank. We want to think about what can we do here. And so we started a very small food pantry in the back of our main office in the fall of 2019. And for about 25 families, we just provided a week's worth of groceries that was very basic, non-perishable items. And so COVID hit in March of 2020, and we literally went from about 25 families asking for support to 80 families to 150 families by about May of 2020. And so we partnered with Second Harvest Food Bank to think about how do we do an emergency food drive through where families drive up and we can provide them with weekly groceries. And we thought we'd be in that for about 3 months and we'd be back to whatever normal was. And here we are, it'll be 6 years in May.
Amazing.
Where we are open every Friday at 7 a.m. and we have 150 families that show up and they get a week's worth of groceries. We raise about $100,000 every December through our holiday giving campaign to supplement what we don't get from Second Harvest, cultural food items from the Rancho Market and essential items. And then, just continuing that work, families were expressing a desire for organic fruits and vegetables. So we broke ground on this plot of dirt in the Alameda parking lot, and we launched an organic farm, basically.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We produce about 3,000 pounds of organic fruits and vegetables in 2025 that we distribute right at our Peace Pantry. And then all of a sudden, the need was clothing. And so we opened up a 10 by 10 tough shed and started sourcing clothing that was almost brand new that families would drop off after the kids had grown out of it. And we have an amazing group of students that have decided that they wanted to take that on at Hillsdale. And so that what you saw, that community closet, was the vision of our students.
Wow.
And it's just another, I think, level of wraparound support that we try and offer an empowerment through action to our families.
And it's just unbelievable. Like when I came that day, like I said, I don't have words to express like how you're helping 150 families every week with food. And I know how brutal the last few years have been. And just to know, and for that family to know that, okay, we have food for this week. That's not something we have to worry about. Mm-hmm. Also for that family to know, okay, my kids can have clothes. Because I walked into that
community closet,
Yeah.
and it was just very abundant.
If I could add one more thing, I think it's important. I think what we end up having to do with our community a lot is people think this is a high wealth area, San Mateo, Foster City, kind of mid peninsula. And I think when you look at the poverty line in San Mateo County for a family of four, it's about $148,000. And then you think of a poverty line for a family of four in Los Angeles and New York, it's $100,000. And the federal poverty line for a family of four is $34,000. And so, yes, we have high wealth in our community, multi-million-dollar homes that our families and our students live in, but we also have a lot of families that are struggling to make it from month to month, having to double up in apartments. And so if we could just help on the margins with things like food and clothing, we hope that supports just their ability to make it in this high-cost area. And it's a challenge for a lot of our families.
It is a challenge, and doing the business work that I've done, and again, the last couple of years have been very challenging. There are people that have been out of work for some time, because of the way the market is, and just to have this type of support is very helpful, because I feel like it takes a little bit of that stress off to let you focus on, okay, what is the next rational step for me to take for my family? But not only that, they also have a community of support, which I feel is key for us to help us navigate these storms. Like when you feel like you're not alone and you have support, and I can reach out to someone and they understand without having that, shame wrapped around it, to feel safe. That's what community is about. And that's what helps us go, because we're all going to come on hard times. And you're right. We live in a very affluent area, and it's very costly. And there are people who are making $150,000 a year who can't make it. What about the people who are just coming in, and just trying to survive? So that's why when I came that day, I was just bored, and this is what it takes. Like, this is what makes America great. And I'm not going to make it political at all. Just this. You are all, the pebble in the pond that's rippling out. And I told it earlier that the impact you're making, you really don't even see it. You really don't really know the impact you're making, because that one person walks away, but you don't know, with you helping them, what they're doing. And so this is why this is just, I have such a passion for this.
It's such a testament to the community of San Mateo.
It really is.
Like, I think we educate a lot of people, even in San Mateo, who live right in our area, about some of our students' experiences, and they hear it and go, what can I do?
Yeah.
And so we have like hundreds of volunteers in our Peace Pantry, in our garden, and like it's a testament to our leadership and just our community as a whole to say this is a need, and like we're all going to wrap our love and like support and resources around making sure that our students and families can feel safe and have what they need. And it's just truly beautiful.
Amen to that. And that's what it talks about: community and oneness and humanity. I'm getting emotional, but I'm staying on track.
It's okay to get emotional.
Yeah, we're on track.
This is a safe space for emotions.
Totally. You shared a story with me, and you had one of the kids who had several days of detention, and you said, hey, you know what? If you want to make this detention up, come to the garden on Saturday and work with me, and I'm going to let you take the story from there.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite stories. So it was Earth Day, which is our day that we plant in the garden, and a student did owe me several detentions, and I said to the student, you're going to join us on Saturday, and you're going to help us plant in our 30 raised beds, and you have a background in agriculture, and so I want you there. So he showed up 8 a.m. and I made him one of the leaders, and I partnered him up with one of our adult volunteers, and they literally spent the next 4 hours working together. And at the end of the 4 hours, I walked up and I said to the student, hey, I'll give you a ride home down to Redwood City. And the volunteer said, Redwood City, that's not our school boundary. And I said, well, he and his dad are unhoused right now, kind of couch surfing, and I need to give him a ride home. So I gave the student a ride home. And that Monday, that volunteer called me, and she said, no, I'm going to get emotional. She said, that student and his story touched me. And my husband and I have been very successful, and we'd like to start an emergency relief fund and donated $114,000 specifically for any student or family in ETA who was on the verge of becoming unhoused. And so again, to Rachel's point, when you just open up to your community, a need, it's amazing how people in our community step in to fill that need. And so now, and it's happening a lot, a family will come in and say, my husband was injured on the job and we can't pay rent right now. And so we can step in with 3 or 4 months of rent support. And again, it's just one person's generosity to say, this is my contribution.
Shout out to Jackie Garcia, who's our family engagement coordinator,
Yes.
who talks to a lot of families, and she helps us get connected with these stories and find out who could benefit.
Yep.
And I remember you also sharing, and if you share this now, I apologize. That once that fund, goes down from the initial amount, the husband and the wife and the husband put it back to
Each year they replenish it. Which is phenomenal. And again, our holiday giving campaign has also allowed us to really build kind of a rainy day fund, which has been important because we need to be in response to the next crisis that comes our way, and there will be one. And so this time we're going to be prepared for any type of situation that happens and a family needs financial support.
God bless you all. So I read an article not that long ago that the San Mateo Union High School District awarded you $1 million to launch a 5-year initiative called Empower San Mateo.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and why that initiative is so important.
Well, we were first a program here at Hillsdale, and one of the challenges we had faced, like gaining traction and getting funding, is that we were only here. And so, and our district kind of was on board the same thing. It's the reason that our schools have foundations to support the small projects at each of the schools. And so we decided to start expanding the program to other schools in the high school, and with this Empower San Mateo initiative, and the district is 100% on board. And so we presented to the board in June, and they approved a $1 million grant over 2 years to support the expansion to the high schools and middle schools.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I think we're really fortunate. Our superintendent, Randall Booker, our school board, were incredibly supportive of this initiative. And if it wasn't for their leadership and willingness to take a chance on this, we wouldn't be in this position to have Empower San Mateo. And I think in the 7 years that we've been running this, it's also, again, going back to our community. We're very fortunate to have an alum who kind of heard about our work, sat with us, genuinely wanted to learn about the type of work you're doing in our community to support really our most marginalized students and families. And also just became inspired and wanted to support us. And thanks to this alumni, his Verderia Foundation contributed $1 million a couple of years ago to really help us get off the ground. And without that support, the support of our district, we would not be sitting here right now, kind of scaling with Empower San Mateo to the 4 high schools and 3 middle schools in San Mateo and Foster City.
And because of that donation and the grant, in 6 months we doubled the number of students that we're able to serve, and so it's just an incredible impact.
Yeah, we should say that those board members, that private donor alum, they saw what you saw. They saw the people, and then they felt the energy. They see the kids. They see their potential. I think that's what they're motivated to support. And so, you a lot of them start with a lot of our volunteers start there, and then they look for more and more, and have been helpful in other areas, some with fundraising, so we can keep this show going. But it's really those kids. You see their potential, and it inspires you to do more.
Yes.
And because once you feel it. We had that career event the other night. The adults coming in and talking to, you saw one of the students doing the video, you see the potential and you just get so engaged, and you're like, what can I do to kind of support this? And because they don't know what they don't know, and how do we get them exposed to stuff that they wouldn't be exposed to otherwise? And so people find they have their strengths and expertise from their past professions, and then they apply it to our organization, and we're still looking for more.
Yes.
We're looking for representation throughout this area, board members, or join a committee. So we'll find a place for anyone who is inspired to do this work for these kids.
Did you hear that? They will find a place for anyone who is inspired to do this work, and it's amazing work. I want to go back to the Power San Mateo initiative, and just kind of so we can get clear. Please, be clear about the Power San Mateo initiative, because now we have ETA here. What does the initiative mean?
So we launched a 5-year initiative in August, and so the goal is to, in the next 5 years, ensure that students in grades 6 through 12 have access to empowerment through action. So the hope is that we add a grade level a year. We'll be at 1,000 students in year 5, and so the hope will be that the mentoring, the groups that we run that really focus on social emotional learning will be existing at the middle schools, the high schools, creating this articulation, this collaboration amongst the schools where the leaders at the other schools we're all working together. But then it's also really, how do you create this ecosystem of support within San Mateo and Foster City, whether it's city council, county supervisors, the trades, big businesses, high wealth individuals, people willing to hire students for their first job at 16. So how do you really create this coherent system of support for these students in our program? And so our goal is to also really think about what could a public-private partnership look like in the city of San Mateo and Foster City. And so how do we work together to both not only raise the money needed, because it's going to take a significant amount of funds to continue to scale and provide this level of support, but also how do we tap into our different skill sets and abilities and offerings to make sure that when our students say, I need help with this, we can answer that question and connect that student to that level of support.
Do you see that maybe ETA, again, we want to bring in, more funds to have more students, you said up to 1,000 students. Can you see this being rolled out just across the board? Because I know there are a lot of kids who maybe do come from other, maybe more affluent backgrounds who might need that emotional support, who might need to feel safe, who might need to be heard. Do you see a point where it's just open to whoever might need that type of support, that holistic support?
Yeah, that's a good question. At some point, you decide, what can we do? What are we set up to do? And I think what's nice is there's a lot of support for a lot of students in our community. I think our specific mission are students furthest from opportunity. That's kind of our North Star. It's the student and the family that I think we empowered through action is going to really decide, how are we going to support you? And of course, we're always open to supporting other students and families. But I mean, really, I think that's the population that we're here to serve in ETA.
What has been one of the most inspiring stories? You probably have a different story. Student story. Malik. I don't know, Beth. That one always makes me want to cry.
Hearing. It's a shorter one too, because we can be here the rest of the night talking about inspiring stories. Our students are so inspirational. But the first year we did Culture Keepers, which is our leadership program in ETA. So we've identified students who we see as leaders and have leadership potential to go to the middle schools, help run a restorative circles here at Hillsdale. And the first year we did it, we invited a group of kids in, and Malik is one of our students who's in my class for, I think, 3 years, actually. And we sat down, we're like, we see you guys as leaders. We want you to do these things. And he goes, I don't get good grades. My grades suck. What do you mean? Why am I here? And I was like, well, I don't really care about your grades. I see this leadership potential in you. You're kind, you're empathetic, you're courageous. These are the things that, to me, make a real leader. Who cares about your grades? I shouldn't say as a teacher, but yeah, right? That's what I care about, is who you are as a person. You literally just saw him sit straighter in his chair. He goes, oh,
so good.
Okay. And he just soared as a leader, and just knew he could spread his kindness and love in a way I think that he probably wouldn't have known without having somebody tell him, no, you're a leader. Screw your success in school. That's really important, but who you are as a person is what really matters. And just changed a lot for him.
So believing in him, he just sat up straight right away.
Oh, 100%.
And so
physically.
And so, giving him that affirmation, seeing that light in him, how did he transform in the time that, he was with you?
So that was actually towards the middle of his senior year. And you could just see his self-confidence boost for the rest of the year. He knew he could graduate because, you know, a lot of our students are like, they're getting towards the end. They're like, is this going to happen for me? And we're doing everything we can to make sure that they graduate from high school. And you just saw his self-confidence go, okay, I can do this. You see this in me. I'm gonna make you guys proud. And I'm gonna make myself proud.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and he still comes back and sees us and tells us of his adventures. And,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
That is a feel good.
yeah. I mean, there's so many.
That is ETA though.
Yeah.
I got so many incredible stories, but one that will always stick out in my mind is I had the honor of starting the 8th grade bridge, and I got a chance to be with the students for getting started in 8th grade, and sophomore year, my mentor had them for a year and a half, 2 years. You know, it was a bumpy road. You know, like it was a bumpy road. Trying to get them to believe they didn't fully believe in me as much. Like they were joking around, having fun. It was tough to get on the same page. So after about a year and a half, 2 years, we have group and they come in and they come in very just aggressively. You know, one of the things is you said earlier that you know we were a partner with Second Harvest, so we had a chance to feed the students. You know, so they came in solely just about the food, just came in just to the refrigerator, and I was really frustrated at this point. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get these guys right. So I said to them, okay, you know what, I'm gonna sit here and I'm not gonna say anything. And one of the students was going through some stuff at home that we knew what was going on, but wouldn't he wouldn't open up to us, and we knew it was breaking him and hurting him, but he was just trying to keep a strong face, you know, just keep going. But again, you know, we knew the family, we knew what was going on, so and we just stayed in, just again trust. And so finally, he goes, "Can we pick this conversation?" And I was like, you know, now mind you, I'm still frustrated. I'm like, "Fine, go ahead." You know, ego's chicken. You know, you go ahead and pick it. You guys go ahead. And yeah. And one of the students was like, it was something on the lines of like, I'm hurting. And I was like, it hit me. I was like, okay, this is gonna be serious. I thought it was gonna be something like, did you see Scarface? Something, you know, someone of them. And I'm like, he goes, I'm hurting. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And to hear him, he started to speak about what was going on. Again, mind you, it had been 2 years in the making. And to hear him talk about the pain he was going through and to watch him, like, it was, I tell you, it was one of the most beautiful moments I've been a part of, to watch him go through that and let something go that was beating him up inside. But right as he was doing that, all the other guys got up and hugged him. And I thought, oh my God, like again, this gets me too. But it was so it was one of those things where I was like, and from him being so vulnerable and open, it went down the line and everyone was just telling their truth. I'll never forget that. And when it was over, after 2 years, I was like, you guys, we have now finally become a group.
Amen to that.
And we're still together, and it's we've never looked back. It's been incredible.
I love that story too. And that story speaks to like it takes time to cultivate that trust and just to stay with with them.
Yes.
And I feel that beautiful energy around that.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing that.
You hit it on the it takes time.
It takes time.
It takes time.
All of this takes time.
And why ETA is, by the way, I told our estimated time of arrival. Just don't know. But no, seriously, it takes time because you never know when they want to let go, when they want to open up.
Exactly.
Like everyone's time is different.
It is.
So let's do it. You know, just move the speed of trust.
Yeah, it goes beyond the 4 or 5 years here in school, and then we get to hear that story. Some of the stories we don't get to hear, but some they come back and share how those moments were the transitional time in their life that got them in a direction to get to where they're at. So they're still forming those, but it's great once in a while when they come back and visit and share the stories. So I don't have there's like so many of those versions. It's just the one moment is great because I know that I'm cooking, and when they get back and they share what they have gained from that experience, it's outstanding.
Doing amazing.
Oh, I just want to share, Grace. I think one of the things that's important, it's the people that are inspiring. You ask what inspires us or what are the stories? It's the people. And I think Father Greg Boyle from Homeboy Industries down in LA always talks about you don't move closer to the margins to rescue, save, or heal because then it's about you. So, we try and make sure this isn't about being a savior and savior complex. It's really just moving closer to the people in our community, the students, the families, the adults. And I'm overwhelmed. I mean, when we think about the mentors that are in ETA, it ranges from our classified staff to our certificated staff to our administrators, to the people who volunteer, to our students who their stories are so inspiring. And so when we learn each other's stories in a community like San Mateo and Foster City, Ed said it, everyone has said it here, you can't help to not be in community together, but we just have to stop and slow down and listen to each other. And so I think for anyone that's listening to this story of ETA, there's so much to do in our community. But when you're kind of sitting at home going, on a national level, everything's overwhelming and the system's breaking down, we have to think about what can we do right here on a local level. And ETA, I think, is an answer on a local level to some of what we need to grapple with in the next 5 years. And so we hope people kind of join our work.
Oh, I agree with you 1000%. I mean, this is where it starts. It starts at home. First of all, number one, it starts within ourselves. And then it starts like with what ETA is. And it just ripples out. And I think what you're doing is phenomenal and amazing. So I want to go back to each of you, and I'm going to ask you each a question, and I'll start with you. What has been the greatest lesson and the greatest reward?
I have to go back to the kids because that's what inspires me to do this book. Because the job I had before, I could do that job and get paid the same. But what really, it is the people. And let me go deeper in that. It's those students. And again, seeing their potential and then connecting. Like, yeah, I remember if I was them, if I would have been exposed to stuff, maybe my life would be different. But seeing their potential, you jump in there and you're motivated to go beyond what you're normally doing. And so I jump in here to do this work. The other reason why is these three, and Aaliyah is out there too, working with them with the same kind of passion to support those kids and help them find their dreams and then achieve their dreams. That is the kind of work. How many times do you find a job and you work with your clients? Yeah. How many times do you find a job where you get to do the stuff that aligns with your values? And so I forgot what your two questions were now. But I'm doing, the reward is to be able to do a job that aligns with who I believe and what I'm about with the people that share similar values.
What about the lesson? What's been the greatest lesson?
The lesson, you do have to make compromise. You can't just get your way. So, I learned a lot. No, I mean,
We'll edit that out.
No, listen, it's like, and this is my guy. You know, we've known each other for a long time. We worked at Parks and Rec here in San Mateo, at the track, and we started teaching together at Abbott. And so he's a dreamer, and he has his vision, and then he's able to find these people. Hey, here's this vision. Join me, do it. And we were like, yeah, you get drawn in and suckered in, or like drawn in. That's the right word. It just feels right. Like, and we're doing it. And so, yeah, we together, we have bumps along the road, but we see North Star. We see what we're out to do. And so we let that drive us. And we know underneath whatever we're dealing with today, these are good people who care about these kids and want to do it the right way.
So you have the same vision.
Same vision. Yes, that's the lesson I learned.
D, what's the greatest reward and the biggest lesson?
Grace Reward, Grace Lesson. Yes, so, I grew up in Syria. I walked these halls, and I didn't get a chance to be who I wanted to be, and I wasn't. I also wasn't seen. And I had a lot of pain. My parents did what they could, but they only can do what they can do. So being able to come back to the stomping grounds and help students see something that I needed help seeing is such a reward, such a gift. I get to right a lot of those wrongs that were in my life, and I'm sincerely thankful for it every single day. I'm very lucky, very very lucky. Um, my lesson, um, with all that pain that I experienced and all the things I had to go through, my own traumas, is my own pain and trauma. So sometimes, you you may have the answers to the test, and you say, why don't you just? There's the answers right there. You think that it's, they're just going to take it and run with it, but not everyone's. Um, Not everyone's time is the exact same. Everyone learns and listens and feels and hears in their own way. So I think the biggest lesson, but for me, that I changed to go through and experience is just, I know you've said it multiple times, but to just meet them where they're at, meet them, move with the speed of trust. Just, because this is infinite inside of me. In that way. So if I'll be there. I'll be there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
At the speed of trust.
Yeah. Yes.
Rachel.
Same question.
Yes.
I mean, I joke, but I'm not joking about Brett. I think, I think the biggest lesson I've learned, I knew this going into this, like equity work is really hard, right? And getting things done in schools is incredibly frustrating and incredibly hard. And a lot of people talk the talk. And I don't say this just here, but it's to a lot of people and in Brett's face. Like, we wouldn't be here if Brett took no for an answer. And so I think the lesson learned is like, when things get really hard, you just have to keep pushing through them because you're going to get these beautiful results. And I think a lot of times in education, it's like, oh, well, there was a roadblock or like there's red tape and, oh, well, guess I can't do that. Right. And so how do you just cut through that red tape and not take no for an answer and just keep pushing through when you're censoring kids because it's the right thing to do? And like, and Brett always talks about this North Star, and like when the kids are your North Star, like none of that really matters, and like nothing's really going to get in your way because you're going to find a way around all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, and I appreciate him for not taking no for an answer for real. And the reward, I think, is kind of to Dee's point, is that switch. Like, no matter how long it takes, and it's going to take a kid, we have 8 kids in every group, and they might come to this place in all different times, but no matter what, they're going to make that switch. And you're going to see that aha moment. You're going to see their barriers break down and their walls break down and start to accept that love, and you feel it as the adult. The other kids in the group feel it. And so that's the biggest reward. Because you're inevitably going to see it. And sometimes it feels like it's not when they're in high school, and that's okay, because they'll come back and say, you were right. Like, I felt that love. I wasn't ready for it. But usually it is in the time that we have with them in group. And that is so rewarding.
Love is always the most powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Brett?
Yeah, it's the lesson is that growth is not linear, and it's funny because time flies, and I think I used to probably run into Ed and Deshawn in Maz's office, the dean's office back at Hillsdale all the time, and I barely graduated from Hillsdale and got kicked out of Chico State, and that when I sit with students. Deshawn said, I think we've all kind of had that in our answers, that you meet students where they're at and recognize that their time might not be their freshman year or their junior year, but it might be their senior year. So how do we hang in there with each student until that that moment, which is then the reward. That reward is when they see it and they know they can do it and they know they can go get it. And then once they have that level of urgency and inspiration, that's the reward of just hanging in there until that moment comes and they meet the moment. So
Staying present with them,
yes,
staying in that safe space with them, and giving them, someone to hear them and see them.
yeah,
That's amazing
Yeah.
and powerful. And I can be here with you for another hour. Thank you so much for, bringing me in to participate in this opportunity to be a part of, ETA. It's just given me just so much, hope that there are incredible days ahead, that our systems are breaking and new systems are coming together, that, love and kindness are the answers, and that the new generation is just giving the right support, is absolutely going to do amazing things. I love the fact that there's, the $1 million award from the city to bring this out to the other schools. And my final question is, what is that vision?
I think that vision is, can we create something that is grassroots within the community that the community will get behind? Can we build kind of that ecosystem within San Mateo and Foster City that ensures every student has the opportunities that they need to reach their highest potential, where students are thriving, not just surviving from day to day? I think if we can be a part of starting kind of this movement, this level of support that every young person in our community deserves, I think that is the goal. And if we can find a way to embrace the larger community and the larger community embraces us, and we work together, we've been using the Golden State Warriors mantra from a few years ago of strength in numbers, is that we are stronger when we're together. And that means everyone in our community chipping in, we can do powerful things.
Yeah, I agree. And you're already doing powerful things, and I just see it rippling out. So for our audience who's watching or listening, I know that we probably have a lot of our classmates listening, watching, and maybe people from far and wide. What's a way that they can connect with you? And if they're interested, to help, to be a part of ETA, how can they get in touch with you?
You can go to our website. Our website is
empowermentthroughaction.com.
you can email any of us, bstevenson@smuhsd.org. You could drop by Hillsdale if you're an alum or someone in the community. Friday mornings, you can stop by the Peace Pantry or just call the main line at Hillsdale and connect with us.
Okay, and I'll share that information too.
Yeah, and before we break, we just want to say thank you to you, Grace.
Oh my God, thank you.
Welcome back.
Okay, you guys, I put on my class ring today from my
Yes.
I can't believe that it was still there.
Yes.
No, thank you. It's been a gift, to come out and to sit with you and to participate and to be part of this. I don't even have words. I'm speechless to what you're doing and seeing what you're doing, because this is what I would say all the time. And as you know, I have the coaching practice. I'm like, if we could just go into the schools, if you can start at the school level, and that's what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I got emotional, so I appreciate everything you're doing, and thank you for bringing me in to do this with you. I appreciate you. And for those of you watching and listening, thank you so much for joining us on this special episode of just sitting here, being human, and sharing what's on our heart, sharing about empowerment through action, how incredible, people are helping not only the students here, but the community at large. And this is what it takes. I mean, this is what kindness is about. This is what love is about. This is what humanity is about. And if you're listening and this touches you and you feel just aligned to come help, there is definitely something for you to do here. Like they said, Friday mornings at 7:00, if you happen to be local. The pantry is amazing. It will set the tone for your entire day. You're gonna want to come back. And if you come and you see the garden and how they have 3,000 pounds of food to feed the community, like I was just speechless. So please, if this touches you and you feel like you want to participate and share, you can reach out to me also, and I'll connect you with, either one of the team members. And if you're listening, please just reach out to me, and I can connect you if you don't see the banners at the bottom and you're listening. And I just want to tell you thank you for listening, for watching, and as always, like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you incredible guests like Ed, Brett, Rachel, and Deshawn. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.